I'm so excited. My Liz Zorab book Grounded came in the post today. It came so fast. I literally ordered it 2 days ago, and here it is. Brilliant, simply brilliant. I absolutely love it. I think Grounded is a really beautiful personal journey of the love of gardening and how Liz came to garden and how she's developed. Within 4 years, she's managed to create a beautifully abundant garden that she provides the family with food from. The book takes you through a journey of rediscovery. Liz shares with the readers her health struggles and how she came to garden. Grounded is set out in 5 sections, so you have year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5. And you can just learn with Liz. You can share with her her joys, her mistakes, her learning. And I think that's a big theme throughout the topic. There's a great humbleness that comes through in the book, where Liz is constantly learning from the garden. The garden is a teacher. And I think that's a great way of looking at gardening, because no matter how many years experience you have, whether you're just at the beginning or near the end, there's always something you're going to learn. I must admit I might be a little bit biased when talking about Liz Zorab, because I adore her. I adore her work, but this book is phenomenal. I thoroughly recommend having this book. So in the beginning, year 1, Liz explains how she came to garden, the health struggles that she had to deal with. All the more props to Liz for doing so much despite the initial health struggles. No doubt throughout the book there's a big appreciation for Mr. J. In fact, there's even an afterword by Mr. J. I probably don't tell Liz often enough just how proud I am of her and of what she's creating, and maybe I do grumble a little when I'm asked to help with something heavy or awkward, just as the wind is at its peak or the rain is slicing across the plot like a sky. Isn't that just beautiful? In year 2, Liz describes some more practicalities of the garden. So she started to establish it in year 1. By year 2, she needs to create the compost, the raised beds, understand the watering system and the wind. And a little helpful tip that I found from Liz here is that she gets her cardboard from gardening centres and local shops, which I've never thought about really, even though it seemed fairly obvious. I do use the old Amazon delivery box in my garden, but I've never actually asked around in shops, which I think is definitely something to make note of. Another great tip from Liz, which I found super hilarious, is tea, kindness and chocolate biscuits go a long way to building good relationships, which are really important if you want to exchange things you don't have, or just getting services, so you want to exchange a service for a service instead of paying unbelievably loads for a tree cutter or something. You might want to say, well, I can provide you with this, and in exchange would you mind providing me with this? So tea and biscuits definitely go a long way. By year 3, Liz has already established the garden, but she still highlights that she's constantly learning from it, which I find is a really humbling theme throughout the book. And in year 4, Liz is starting to set up her CSA, so she gives some tips on how to find people interested in exchanging that relationship. Why not share the abundance with people around you? Fresh, local food at its best. Throughout the book, Liz has a lot of excerpts from her blog. Towards the end, there's a 2-page excerpt from the blog, and the title is Ways I'm Wealthy Without Money: Family, Friends, Good Food and Health, Love and Laughter, Space to Think, Fresh Air. Again, she reflects on mental health and well-being, which is super duper important. Even though the garden can bring joy, it's also important to pace yourself and not to do too much, because you want to still be in love with gardening and not make it a chore. I think what is beautiful about Liz and about her book is that she's aware of her mental health, and so sometimes it's okay to say no, sometimes it's okay not to be okay. And so within the book even, there's a little phrase that says, local resources can be a blessing, but knowing when to say no, thank you, is essential. because you don't want to be just cluttering up your garden as well. It's so unique. This book is so unique and so personal, but also educational. There's lots of insights and little words of wisdom within the stories which you don't quite capture the first time. I, for example, read this book in 2 days because it was so encapturing, but I'm definitely going to go back to it and read it again to capture all those little pieces of knowledge that Liz has kindly shared with us throughout the book. The book has been recommended by Charles Dowding and lots of other famous gardeners, including a foreword by Hugh Richards, who recommend the book, and they're much more knowledgeable than me. So if you're not persuaded by my amateur knowledge, then definitely well-known gardeners are recommending this book. So yes, if you're still considering it, get this book.